Hello, dear ones. Welcome to the next episode of our podcast. I'm happy to present to you some questions that came from listeners to this podcast and the answers that I channeled from the Akashic Records. If you yourself have questions, feel free to email them to me from my website, joyrightcoaching.com. And I will be happy to answer them and share the answers with you and the other listeners of this podcast. If you, however, have some personal questions and would like to have some undivided attention from me for an hour, feel free to book a session with me and we are going to check all the questions you have and answer them for you. You can book a session with me also from my website, joyrightcoaching.com. And now, let us proceed to today's questions and answers. The first question that I received was from a listener who feels not in his power. He has the feeling that right now it's rather institutions and other people that are taking decisions for his life and he feels powerless. So his question was, how can I feel in my power? How can I come into my strength? And here is the answer I received from the records. This answer is valid not only for this person, but also for everyone listening. The answers that come from the Akashic Records are always tailored towards the people that are going to hear them. The masters in the records are very well aware that I'm going to share these answers with you, and that's why they make sure that the answers they give serve the person who asks the question as well as everybody else listening to the answer. Here comes the answer. Imagine that after several hours or days climbing up a mountain, you reach its top and look at the world from above. You feel free, you feel accomplished, you feel like your daily problems are insignificant. You feel the grandeur of nature and the universe. You realize that you are part of it. This is what it feels to be in your power. You've been wrongly led to believe that being in your power, being strong, means to overcome all of your fears, to increase your strength, and to be able to deal with more and more difficult situations alone. No, dear ones, being in your power and getting access to unimaginable amounts of strength you can achieve only when you merge with the flow of life, with the energy of God that is always streaming towards you from all sides. You will find your power not when you toughen up, but on the contrary, when you soften up, give up trying so hard, and allow yourself to merge with the cosmos, with the power that permeates through all life. Then you will be able to tap into an amount of strength you can now only imagine, and you will be guided how to use this strength for the highest good of the universe. You see, until you want power and strength for yourself, you won't be given much of it, because you could do much harm with it. But when you allow to be guided, when you want to use your strength to help yourself and others, then you can open and allow the universal power to stream through you, and it will be given to you. Ignore this which is going on around you if it brings you down. If something makes you feel fearful, don't invite it too often into your inner world. Act only out of inspiration and make sure you're in a state of higher vibration for as long as possible. Being in joy, peace, and harmony will help you stay healthy, take better decisions led by your intuition, and stay objective. From this kind of state of being, it will be easier for you to connect to the divine. The more time you spend in fear, rage, and disharmony, the bigger the toll will be on your health, financial stability, and connection to the universal powers. Remember one of your great leaders, Gandhi. He is a great example how one man who stays in his heart can change the world within a very short amount of time. Don't think that love and peace are states of weakness. This is the illusion you're brought to believe in. It's exactly the opposite. These are the states of real power. Try it out and see what will happen to you in your life. I find this answer very inspiring, to be honest, because it tells us that when we are in our hearts, when we feel love and compassion, when we feel connected to the universe, that is when we have the most strength and power. Not when we disconnect from everything else and when we try to be alone and to conquer everything on our own. I hope this answer gave you strength and power and inspired you to act from a much deeper and connected place. The second question that I received is also linked to the current situation, and I believe this is a question that many people ask themselves. The question is, should I get vaccinated now or not? And here comes the answer from the records. Of course, I have to say that I'm not a physician, I have no medical education, so I cannot give you any advice about what to do with your health and what kind of medical procedures you should do in your life. But I can share with you the answer I received from the masters of the Akashic Records regarding this question. Here comes the answer. We can't tell you how to lead your life and what decisions to make. But we can tell you that all the information you need to make a decision is out there and you don't even need to look for it. It is brought right in front of your eyes to see. What we ask you, though, is to view the provided information from a space of neutrality. Try to forget what is going on around you and just ask yourself, with the information and the data I have right now, what do I think would be the best decision for my health and life? Think long term, not short term. You do plan to lead a long, happy, healthy life, don't you? We also invite you to be open-minded. Don't just discard a theory because it sounds weird. Remember that not long ago, people on your planet thought that your planet was the center of the universe, and all other dots of light from the sky, including your sun, are revolving around you. Now you know this is quite far away from what actually is going on. You can feel in your gut when something is true, even if your scientists haven't proven it yet. So trust your intuition. You've been trained to use your brain and your heart in a wrong way. You use your brain to take logical decisions, and your heart, if you use it at all, to take the so-called less important emotional decisions. You've been led to believe that decisions taken based on logic are better than decisions based on emotion and intuition. We tell you this couldn't be farther from the truth. In fact, pun intended, it is exactly the opposite. Your brain and your logic and your database of facts know only the past. If nothing was dynamic in your world and nothing was changing, taking decisions based on the past would be a good approach. But that's not how life works. Did your logic know about the internet 50 years ago, or about your smartphones 20 years ago? And yet you are supposed to take decisions that will influence your life 10, 20, 50 years into your future. Your brains simply don't have the right data source to take such decisions. Your heart and your intuition do. Your heart has the capacity to connect to the universal mind, to the Akashic Records of all that was, is, and is to come. That is the data you need to base your decisions on. Some of you have a clear and detailed access to this information, like Yana does. Others have rather restricted access, but you all do have this access. Some of you can download a research paper from there, others can just download a yes or no answer, but you all do have access to this information. The access is through the channels of your intuition, this skill and sense that you're not taught in school to develop, but a skill that each one of you does possess. So when you are to take an important decision for your future, ask your intuition, your gut feeling, what feels more in alignment for you, what is right for you, and then do it. And while we are on that note, we would encourage you to develop that skill in your children. Don't develop only their brains and logical faculties. Develop also their skills to access the universal field, to lead their lives from the space of the heart. This will be the key to the heaven on earth you also desire, and it is in your own hands to achieve it. This was the answer I received to this question. I hope it was helpful and inspiring to you. And I just realized that I haven't mentioned my name today. My name is Jana Mileva. The masters did address me in their answer, so I thought, yeah, I should mention it to you as well in case you don't know it. All right, let us go now to the next question, which is actually quite fun. The question is, are there aliens? And here is the answer. Are there birds? Are there different types of flowers? Are there rivers and mountains? Isn't life extremely diverse and abundant? Do you think God will make all this effort of creation and will limit it only to one of the billions upon billions upon billions of planets in the universe? What a waste of resources that would be. You know from your physicists that energy is never wasted, and it's always used and distributed in the most efficient way. It is the same with life. Yes, the universe is in fact a very bountiful and life garden. There are all kinds of species out there. But just like you enjoy interacting more with humans, butterflies, horses, dogs, and dolphins, rather than with grass, worms, and bacteria, it is the same with the other species in the universe. Interaction happens depending on your level of development and interest. Do you want to interact with them? And with which ones of them? And do they want to interact with you? And with which ones of you? That's all. It's no rocket science. It's quite logical, actually. I think this was a fun question, and I hope the answer was also interesting to you to hear. And while we are talking about aliens, I would like to share with you a personal story from one of the readings I had with a client of mine. At the early beginning of my work with the Akashic Records, I used to offer short readings at spiritual fairs, so people could get a feeling about the type of information and energy that comes during an Akashic Records reading. I did not yet have much experience working with clients, but I had experience working with the records, so I knew to trust the information I received. During one such fair, a woman came to me and said that she has just one short question. I have always felt like I do not belong. What is wrong with me? She looked like a totally normal and really lovely lady, and I wondered why she thinks there is something wrong with her. I opened her records and forwarded her questions to the masters. She is an alien, they said. I gulped. What do you mean? I asked them. She is an alien soul that reincarnates for the first time here on Earth, and that is why everything looks and feels so weird to her. I looked at the lady and told her that I will simply repeat this which I get from the masters. I have to admit I felt quite weird repeating the message to her. I told her, "You feel out of place here. because you are an alien soul that chose to reincarnate here on Earth. And this is your first incarnation here, and things still look quite strange to you. Our society is different, our values are different, we live in a dense material world, and we are not very nice to each other. I said this and waited for her reaction. I expected her to look at me with the look of, here is yet another crazy person. But instead she said, I knew it. She was ecstatic, and so was I. A big smile spread on her face, and she completely transformed. Her beautiful light soul started shimmering and giggling. She had no more questions. She got the confirmation she needed. She was not some weird person that could not fit in. She was a soul from a different planet, and her feelings were more than normal. Her soul has came here on Earth to support Earth in its growth and to learn new lessons. She thanked me and continued on her way. I think I was actually more shocked than her. It was a lovely experience meeting for a few brief minutes this beautiful alien soul that has chosen to grace the earth with its visit. So, dear ones, I hope the answers and the stories for today were entertaining and interesting for you. If you have any questions yourself, feel free to email them to me from my website, joyridecoaching.com. I'm looking forward to our next meeting next week, and I wish you all the best and leave you in good health and spirits. Until next time, bye bye.